What's up guys, it's Mike again, glad to have you guys back for another video. So Sony just sent us the BRAVIA II 4K OLED TV. So we're gonna unbox it and see what's... Oh my gosh, no! We're good, we're good. Wait, why is it so light?
Because it's over there.
Oh. So actually, the TV's over there, so we're all good. And we're gonna just unbox it and see what it's all about. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So there's two height levels that you can set the TV, either like really close to the floor over here, or have this space which you can use a soundbar. And in this case, we're gonna use Sony's System 6. It's so cute. This is the biggest one that I've seen, and I have like 3 of these. So the soundbar has this connection point that you have to plug in here to make it work. And you also have to plug in the HDMI from the sub to the TV. So either you have a super long HDMI cable or you need to place this right beside the HDMI cable port on this TV. So we're gonna check it out for the first time now.
To wall, is it about?
Oh, it's not feeding.
So bright.
Ah! It's like when that subtitle shows up, it kind of like, it's hard to see the movie.
Yeah, because it's so bright.
Yeah.
Anyways, the videos that we watched did not look super amazing right out of the box. The subtitles looked kind of bloomy, things looked grainy, and the menu settings were like blinding. We weren't sure if it was because of the movie or the TV, but we were just like not really impressed. I mean, like, this is Sony's flagship quantum dot OLED TV, okay guys? An OLED is known for being super crispy and having really deep blacks. So something was definitely a bit off. So after my friends left, I spent a ton of time playing with the picture settings while I was sick that week, and it turns out that it was definitely too bright. The BRAVIA 8 II is 50% brighter than the previous version. So I had to turn down the peak luminance to medium or low and adjust a ton of other things to really dial everything in. While I was doing this, it really felt like I had to change the picture setting every time I watched something different, so I gotta say, it's quite a tedious process. Now, the other thing is that when I was using the streaming apps through the built-in Android TV, sometimes it was streaming SDR content for some reason, and this kinda limited how deep the blacks can get and the color range, making everything look a bit flat. But when I switched to using the Apple TV, which streamed HDR content, it looked dramatically better. So there's just a lot of initial setup and quite a noticeable difference between SDR and HDR content with this TV. Now, after all of that tuning, I got my friends to come back to hang out and show them what OLED was all about. When we were watching Kaiju number 8, the first thing that really hit us was just how deep the blacks looked. The shadows weren't just dark, they completely blended into the frame, almost like the edges of the TV had disappeared. And then the colors didn't just show up, they like glowed. For example, the lightning effects here felt like they were like bursting out of the screen with this vivid, almost electric vibrancy. Talking about colors, one of the big improvements in the BRAVIA 8 II is the upgrade to the XR Triluminos Max. It pushes the quantum dot OLED panel further than the Pro version, giving a wider range of tones and more subtle shading so colors look richer and more natural. On top of that, Sony improved the contrast as well, which makes highlights like neon lights or bursts of color pop harder while keeping the darks deep and controlled. So while watching Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse on BRAVIA Core, the colors weren't just bright, they had this soft, painterly, almost pastel-like look. It actually looked kinda textured, like every frame was hand-brushed onto the screen. I mean, I've watched this movie before on other TVs, but rewatching this on this TV felt like a completely different experience. It really just felt like I was looking at moving artwork. And then in K-pop Demon Hunters, there were scenes where the background completely goes black, and in those moments, it looks like the image is like isolated very cleanly and it's very detailed and super crisp. So it creates a pop-out effect, and it really feels like that there's just something floating in front of us. So when we switched over to live action shows like Star Trek, one thing that stood out right away was how effortlessly I could see all the little details, even in dark environments. It was like all the little things were just able to pop out of the screen without us needing to turn up the brightness. I mean, like, just look at Captain Pike over here. You can actually see all the pores on his face. It's that crisp and detailed, which is kind of scary. Now, I'm not saying that everything looks overly sharp all the time. For example, watching Glass Heart on this TV was really impressive. This show has a darker, moodier color theme that feels very cinematic and story-like. The colors look soft and natural with a cinematic kind of smoothness, and people's faces come through lifelike and expressive without looking overly processed. And as I'm watching it, it kind of feels like I'm like sucked into the atmosphere. It really sets the tone for how I'm supposed to feel, and I'm just watching their version of the world play out. Now, Sony added something called AI Super Resolution, which works with their XR clear image upscaling to pull out finer details and cut down on noise. When I was watching The Office, which is produced in 1080p SDR, I was actually really impressed. The actors' faces had a natural crispness without it looking artificial, and the colors came through balanced instead of washed out. And at one point, I had to even look it up to see if the show had been remastered in 4K. So with all these features combined, it definitely makes older content a lot more watchable. Moving along, we played a few games on this TV as well. In gaming mode, this TV has an auto low latency mode and a variable refresh rate mode for a more responsive and smooth gameplay. So playing Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch 2 on this TV was super fun. Everything felt super responsive and the image quality just looked really crisp and colorful. The only thing that we did have to tweak was the brightness on a few maps. It just came off a little bit too bright.
It's really bright with the sand, right? Is it just me?
No, I need to lower the thing.
Oh, Jack, how'd you pass me with the hey?
But once adjusted, it looked good. It's not really a big deal. Sony's TVs are optimized for the PlayStation, so if you're gaming on that, you wouldn't need to adjust the screen settings. After that, we plugged my PC in to test out the refresh rate as well. Playing Valorant on this actually looked really good. I had Mason try this out. He's a lot better at this game than me. He played a few rounds and he said it looked really great as well. But for competitive players like him, he did feel some input lag. Even when we wired the mouse and keyboard directly into the PC, it still didn't completely go away, so if you're really serious about esports, I think you'll notice it. However, for casual players like me, I didn't feel the latency at all, because playing Diablo 2 looked really good on this TV, and playing on a big screen definitely hit differerently. On the big screen, I can actually see all the little details in my armor, on my character, and even on the maps that I've never really noticed before playing on my 27-inch gaming monitor. Now, there's also this cool feature called Gaming Multi-View on YouTube. With this mode, you can split the screen so that you can play games and watch YouTube videos at the same time. You can adjust the sizes of each screen and also the volume. So this is actually quite a nice feature to have if you like something playing in the background while you're gaming. I also use the TV as a monitor to edit my videos during the day. So it works perfectly on this, there's no latency when I'm editing, and the brightness definitely helps makes it usable in brighter conditions like this. However, the more lights that I have in the room, the more the blacks kind of look gray. And that's when the OLED loses its special sauce and just kind of looks like a regular TV. So it seems with the BRAVIA 8 II, Sony takes everything OLEDs are already known for, like deep blacks and cinematic colors, and it pushes it further with their processing and with this new boost in brightness. But here's the thing. That brightness increase isn't about making the whole screen bright in the middle of the day, it's really about the HDR highlights. The sparks, the reflections, the things that glow. Those moments are actually really awesome and feel more lifelike just because the TV can drive those bright spots harder while keeping the intensity even if I'm watching in a bright room with ambient lighting on. So I've been using this TV for a whole month now and there are definitely a few things that it could improve on. So the first thing would be there are just too many picture settings to tinker around with. Being a flagship TV, I really expected it to look great out of the box, which is not the case. So there's a lot of playing around with stuff, and I'm not talking about the colors. The colors are like accurate. I didn't tinker around with any of that. So if they had a AI mode or calibrated mode for everything, that would be great. The second thing is that this TV only has two HDMI 2.1 ports that support the 120Hz refresh rate. And one of them is taken up by the eARC that goes into your soundbar or your sound system. So if your soundbar does not have a HDMI pass-through, you're only left with one of those ports. So compared to Samsung and LG, they have like 3 or 4 of those ports, and now their TVs refresh at a higher rate. So it would be nice to see Sony be competitive in that aspect. I mean, I've reviewed the X93L, the X90L 2 years ago, and it's still like this. So maybe This TV is more focused towards people who like watching movies, who like that color accuracy, who likes customizing and tinkering with all those options and have reference level colors. Because people in the film industry actually use this TV to edit movies. So guys, that's my take on it. If you have any questions at all, please comment below. I'd love to help you out. And if you're still watching right now, thanks for supporting my videos and watching till the end. Make sure you drop a fire emoji in the comments below to let me know that you watched up to this point, and I'll see you in the very next video. Bye!